Hi, I'm Alexis Moran, and I have translated Pieter Koolwijk's book Gozert as Buddy. This is Chapter 1, Troll Hunt. It was a spectacular afternoon. Summer seemed to have made an unexpected early visit, and the day was too lovely to stay inside, especially since my parents were going to get an angry telephone call from my teacher, who was actually a witch. It was time to do something fun. So we went out on a troll hunt. Buddy and I walked along the edge of the ditch looking for the narrow plank. That was the only way to get to the junkyard unseen, which was the best place to find trolls. "I thought it was around here somewhere," I said. "Maybe they took it away." "No, TT, keep going." Buddy was dressed just right for the occasion. The safari hat with corks dangling off the brim, the green button-down shirt and matching shorts, the white knee socks and sturdy hiking boots. The look oozed jungle expedition. Buddy grabbed the binoculars that hung around his neck and peered through them. "I see it," he said. "We're almost there." And off he sprinted. And what did I do? I followed close behind, as always. By the time I got to the plank, Buddy was already on the other side waving at me. I took a deep breath, stuck my foot out, but then had second thoughts. I had to gather up my courage first. The plank looked narrower than I'd remembered, and the water was bubbling like a boiling pot, but without the steam. "Come on, TT," Buddy pinched his nose. "I can already smell the troll." I put a foot on the plank, and the water began to churn harder, to swirl and seethe even. I quickly jumped back. "What is that?" "Oh no," Buddy shook his head, stepped onto the plank, and strode to the middle. He didn't have any trouble keeping his balance. "Mr. Ness," he shouted, "come out, now!" The water surged upward, and a gigantic gray lizard head rose out of the shallow ditch. Or was it a dinosaur? The beast had a humongous neck that kept rising out of the water until it stopped, towering high above Buddy's head. Water was pouring down its ginormous body. Here it is. "Didn't I explain this to you before?" Buddy yelled. "You're not allowed to eat TT." The animal made a strange growling sound, and just to be on the safe side, I stepped back a bit. "No, not even an arm, or a nibble of his head. No, you can't even nip at his hair or gnaw on his neck." Buddy raised a threatening finger at the beast's head. "Last warning, leave TT alone, or you're in trouble for the rest of the week." The animal growled again, but it sounded less threatening this time. "You should tell TT you're sorry, not me," said Buddy. No need." I scooted back even further. "I'm fine, really." The beast's long neck twisted, dropping down until it was right in front of my face. I was looking straight into two ginormous nostrils, which suddenly snorted a blast of hot air. My hair blew every which way. Then the beast gave a long, sad moan. It sounded like an elephant smooshed under a pile of rugs who wasn't at all happy about it. "No, really," I said, "it's fine. It could happen to anyone." Again, the hot nose air, and again my hair was tossed all over the place. Then the beast sank down into the water and out of sight. "You can't really blame Mr. Ness," Buddy said. He turned, walked on, and jumped onto the junkyard bank. "He keeps confusing the words yes and no. They are hard to tell apart." Buddy turned toward me. "Come on." I once again put my foot down on the wobbly plank, put all my weight on it, and tried to find my balance. Then I lifted my other foot and skittered as fast as possible to the other side. I teetered on the last step, but managed to hop sideways onto the far bank. "Wow," I said, "that was close." "Shh," Buddy hissed, "I hear a troll." I heard it too, a voice nearby. It was the nastiest, ghastliest voice I had ever heard in my life. The voice of someone who gobbles up children alive. I hid behind a pile of tires and motioned to Buddy to be careful, not that he would listen. "It's not in here anymore," said the troll. It spoke slowly as if it had to think about each word. "Want me to keep looking?" It let out a deep sigh. "It's on the phone," Buddy whispered, peeking around the wreckage of a car. "And it doesn't look too happy." "Trolls are never happy," I said. "Unless they're eating kids," Buddy said. "Yeah," I nodded, "unless they're eating kids." The troll said, "I might have a few more. What I can do is..." Its voice trailed off as it walked away from us. Buddy stood up. "I have a plan. A masterful plan, he grinned. So from now on, you can call me Master Buddy. Ha! I shook my head and laughed. I'm not going to call you Master. I'll just stick with Buddy. He might be my best friend, but I had no idea what his real name was. I asked often enough, of course, but I never got a straight answer. I usually got Head Honcho, Chief Cheddar, or the Big Enchilada. Once he even suggested that I call him Mendes, so that combined, our names would be Tremendous. Maybe a good idea, but by then I'd already gotten used to calling him Buddy. That's what my dad always called people whenever he couldn't remember their names. Tell me, I said, what's your tremendous plan? Masterful, he corrected. Masterful plan. Okay, Buddy said. Everyone knows that trolls are powerless against water. Water, I said. I thought it was sunlight. Bro, Buddy shook his head. That's for normal trolls. This is a demolition troll. They like to be dirty. That sounded so logical that I decided it might be true. We got right to work. We collected some car tires and scattered them around. Then we filled an old bucket and a jerry can with ditch water. The only thing left to do was to build a trap, but it was too late. Way too late. The troll was coming. Here is the troll. Hope you want to hear more.